try this guided astral projection meditation with HemiSync. So just a little background before getting into the details of this guided AP meditation. I've been astral projecting for the past 24 years. I'm well familiar with the majority of the projection techniques out there. I've used the Monroe Institute Gateway Experience series and other binaural beats, and I've listened to many different guided astral projection meditations. Since I started my podcast The Astral Dimensions last year, I've gotten requests from quite a few listeners for me to make a guided meditation to assist in getting out of body. So that's exactly what I did. This guided meditation, in my opinion, contains all of the crucial elements for a successful out-of-body experience, something that seems to be severely lacking in the majority of guided AP meditations that I've listened to over the years. I also embedded the track with Theta binaural beats / HemiSync to facilitate entering the mind-awake / body-asleep state. I guide the listener through a series of stages designed to get the body and mind in the optimal state for astral projection. These are methods that I've used for many years and have proven to be effective. For best results, perform this guided meditation in the morning upon awakening, right before bed, or during an afternoon nap. Of course, waking up a bit earlier than usual, say after about 6 hours of sleep, is by far the most effective time to do it, as your body and mind are typically already in an ideal state for projection at this time. The guided meditation begins at 8:40 of the episode, but I recommend listening from the beginning for complete preparation and instructions. I'd love to get feedback on how your attempts go with my guided meditation, and I'd be happy to answer any questions about it. Happy travels!
I want to say thank you so much because I got my first successful AP after listening to your episode on the most efficient technique, sparkling heart folded hands sparkles. I found AP 2 months ago and tried a few techniques in the first few weeks without luck until week 4 following your steps. It lasted pretty long and I visited a bunch of places. Smiling face with smiling eyes, sparkling heart. Can't wait to try this meditation. May I ask a question? Do you have any tips on how not to fall asleep so fast and hover on the edge of awake asleep longer? I tend to fall into a deep sleep even when listening to guided meditations. Thank you so much, sparkling heart.
Well, that's incredible. I'm so glad I was able to help. About remaining on the edge of sleep without fully losing consciousness, this is mostly a matter of practice and trial and error, but what I would recommend, aside having a strong intent to remain aware as the body falls asleep, I would consider approaching it in small increments, allowing yourself to deepen towards sleep for just a few moments and then coming back to full awareness, trying to catch yourself before actually losing consciousness, and simply repeating this process, almost like you are tiptoeing back and forth, inching your way closer and closer to mind awake / body asleep.
Thank you for making that. I am listening to your energy work episode. I have been practicing Robert Bruce's techniques for about 3 months now and can stimulate everything, feeling all my chakras. I only have an issue with the subnaval energy storage. I am still not entirely sure as to precise location and can't feel it. Is it something you should feel pulsating same as the chakras? I have just been sweeping energy into that general area, but the book says to not do that but instead just feel it going up. Help.
I will give this a try. I had an obey out of nowhere on February 4th. On first night my husband was on a trip abroad. You're right, I slept really late that night and it happened as the sun was almost up and my room was partly lit. Or I think, as I thought I was awake, had my eyes open, I saw the room as I would from my bed, even seeing the reflections in the mirrored doors of my closet in front of me. Suddenly I felt a tug on my upper body moving to the right. Then lifted partially upwards, but it didn't go anywhere. Then it tugged to my left, so much that I even felt the edge of the mattress. Then boom, my whole body lifted and went into the closet mirror. All I remember afterwards is that I was in a white space with planets floating past me. About a week before this I had another dream where I saw an entity at the foot of my bed that grabbed my left foot, which vibrated my whole body like I was being electrocuted. Then my body started to lift and screamed and oh. My husband had to wake me up. Weirdest part was that the entity was blocked out by overlapping black squares, as if it was being edited out. Or perhaps my mind was protecting myself from the shock. Both nights the common factor is that I was vibrating very hard like being electrocuted.
Wow, awesome experience. Having entities induce the vibrational state or full-blown pull me out of body is something I'm all too well familiar with.
That sounds horrifying. One of the major things holding me back of going there again. The 2 times I was in the astral realm, very short, I did not encounter any scary entities, none at all actually.
It's only horrifying if you bring fear into the experience yourself. Listen to my podcast episode about shadow beings, and you'll understand what I'm talking about.
While you're absolutely right again, as I started vibrating like a really strong bzzzzzzz, I remember saying to myself, this is pretty cool. And I kinda enjoyed the whole entity part. I will also check out the shadow beings. It was only when I started to levitate that I got afraid, chickened out, and screamed no. Within, I sort of felt nothing was wrong, but guess for that night, it was enough, and my scared husband did shake me awake. Afterwards I didn't want to be afraid, I wanted to go back. And for days, afterwards, I talked to myself not to be afraid if it happens again. And so when it did, I was able to have that obey with a lot of tugging. Geez, my higher self was trying real hard to yank me out. I'm gonna try your guided meditation. Really nice to have a genuine feedback from someone who knows. Thank you.
Chances are that she/it was trying to assist. There are helpers everywhere and we all have one available when needed. It may have blocked you so you weren't afraid. Interesting that it had the opposite effect. Edit. When I was 15 learning this, all the literature I read called them spirit guides. Nothing can hurt you out of body, don't let fear enter the equation.
You're right, I felt it was definitely helping me in my first dream, and I kind of knew it even when it touched my foot and I started to vibrate like electrocution. I knew it was good thing for me, though I got scared and chickened out. And in the second dream it was the one that yanked me out of my body for sure. Yeah, I felt completely at ease with the being. Some others had called them shadow beings, and many were scared of them. But inside I knew it was probably me, or other aspect of me seemed so at ease with me and me to it. There have been string of landmark dreams and UFO sighting, and now the astral projection. I want to go back there but haven't been able, and I'm okay with it cause I feel there will be the next landmark experience when I'm ready.
That's scary. Why is these experiences are so frightening and dark for some? Not sure this is something one would want. It wasn't scary. Even as I saw the entity, I felt curious by its looks but not scared. I just chickened out when I felt myself levitating, but I was really happy and amazed both times that I'm here trying to figure out from others how to go back there. I meditate every day and I'm not scared to die at all. Recently I've been feeling a bit phased out within myself, like I'm floating in a gyroscope. I need to meditate more so I can go back.
Okay, well that's good you're not scared. I vacillate between being afraid and not afraid of dying. Deep down I'm not afraid of what's on the other side. I'm afraid of what it would mean for my children here. They need me. What freaks me out a bit is that sometimes when I meditate, I feel an unease or even slight discomfort in the heart. I tried this technique last night and I think a lot of my fear was wrapped up in the fact I was having a little chest pain. I've had some health issues as of late with BP and a strong family history of heart disease, so I'm hypersensitive to any sensations like that. It makes it hard to relax and remain fearless.
I think we're all here to feel separated, lost, and fearful to lose everything, so we can find our way back from it like a maze. I can sense you are between questioning that fear, and that's a brave place to be.
Thanks for sharing this. I've actually ever tried this once before with no success, but since I've experienced some out-of-body feelings when meditating, I thought I would try. I think there was still a level of fear associated with it, so as much as I tried all 3 methods I was not successful, though I did feel myself raise a couple times, only to come back down. I got pretty far into it, and I was getting tired and felt it just wasn't working for me, so I finished, rolled over and went to sleep. But last night I had the most vivid and crazy dreams. I'm wondering if it had something to do with it. It was rather frightening actually. I dreamt I was at a school and the army raided the school, but with them were extraterrestrial beings. One species was mammoth, lizard-like, large build and very tall, estimate 12 feet, and I remember from where I was crouching I could only see their lower half. Then later during the same incident another tall dark species with long cloaks or coats, a small head in proportion the body with flowing green eyes. It was incredibly vivid and I was terrified. What was more upsetting is that they had arrested groups of children and were taking them into custody. I didn't feel like their intentions were good. I was fearing where my child was. But everyone was paralyzed in fear and hiding. There was also another short, creepy, black-skinned thing, all bent over, nearly in half with skinny windy limbs. It was trippy. I wonder if the meditation has anything to do with it, or it was just random.
Just reporting in after a series of successful projections listening to my guided meditation. So what did I do? I woke up after about 6.5 hours of sleep and put on the track about 10 minutes later. I went through the entire process and for the projection threshold technique, I focused on falling. I allowed myself to get deeper and deeper, edging towards sleep. Suddenly I felt a sharp internal sinking sensation and was hit with vibrations. I immediately levitated from my body using the rising separation technique and had an awesome experience. After coming back to my body, the first thing I became aware of was that the meditation music was still playing. I remained completely still and almost immediately slipped back into the vibrational state, rising out of my body again for another projection. I repeated this process once again after returning to my body, but I didn't want to push it. 3 back-to-back projections can be a lot to remember, and I really wanted to record the first experience, so I cut the third projection short. I hope you guys had some success with it too.
OP, I did listen to your guided meditation and found it very helpful. I will continue to use it. I also listened to a couple of your other podcasts and in one you state that light twitching is a sign that someone is ready to separate. I have not yet been able to achieve AP, but a big problem I have is that my left leg will start twitching in a vigorous and uncontrollable way. I cannot even stop it by holding it down with my other leg. This tends to break my meditative state. Do you really think this is a sign of progress towards an AP experience? Any suggestions or comments? Thank you in advance. I bought your book on Amazon and plan to listen to all your other podcasts on this subject.
I also wonder if it's possible to unknowingly AP. I've had some odd dreams over the years that I can't explain. Like visiting an old flame that I never got over, and it being so real and beautiful, almost spiritual. I've not wanted to wake up and being in far-off places I've never been and being able to describe the sights with such detail that I would never be able to conjure up in my imagination, as well as speaking in other languages unknown to me. I don't sleep well for health reasons and often describe my sleep as half asleep/half awake. I've often wondered if it's something I already do inadvertently.
I just discovered this notion of astral projection 2 days ago. Holy crap, I'm 41 and how have I never heard of this? I've not actually read a detailed account of what this experience is like. What does it mean to visit places? Can you see other people doing this? Can you interact with anything? Can you remember everything or anything? Can you start something, anything, and continue it next time? I've read about time travel, galaxy travel. Not even sure what that is. Can you see other parts of the physical world? How long can these experiences last? What does the passage of time feel compared to real physical awake time? Are you fully conscious? Is there something you can decide to do or see and just do it? Can you learn anything in this realm that is useful to physical world? I've read a lot about how it starts, but how does it end each time? Do you decide it's over or body just wakes up and it ends instantly? I guess I could go on, and on Reddit is awesome, and I would greatly appreciate any shared experiences. I will check out your podcast. I'm sure a lot of answers there. Thanks.